everybody, and welcome to my channel. In this episode I'm going to be talking about life without parole. Now, Life Without Parole was brought out in 1983 and it was reserved for the most heinous of crimes. People who had been to prison for murder being released and committed more murders, people who had committed multiple murders, and people whose crimes were so bad the only sentence that it merits is life without parole. Now, the person I'll be talking about today is Dale Cregan from Greater Manchester, and Dale Cregan was responsible for 4 murders. He murdered a father and son, Mark Short and David Short. He then went on to kill 2 police officers, Fiona Bone and Nicola Hughes. Now, before I get into it, I would just like to ask all my viewers, if you're not already subscribed to my channel, please go and hit the subscribe button to help my channel grow, because 80% of my viewers are still not subscribed to my channel. So please, if you're enjoying the content, go and subscribe, or go and check to see if you're already subscribed or not subscribed to the channel. Like I said, to help my channel grow and get future podcast guests on. So through the video, I'll be referring to Dale Cregan just as Cregan. So Cregan's first murder was Mark Short, who was 23-year-old when he was killed. And the second murder was Mark's father, who is David Short, who was 46-year-old. And the killings of David and Mark Short were the culmination of a decade-long feud between 2 criminal families in Manchester, the Shorts and the Atkinsons, with whom Cregan was friendly. Dale Cregan was born at Tameside General Hospital on the 6th of June 1983 to Paul Cregan, a tool setter from Manchester, and Anita Marie Cregan. He was one of 3 siblings. Cregan's older brother Dean was born 2 years earlier, and a younger sister followed, before his father left the family and eventually married a former policewoman with Greater Manchester Police. Cregan attended the now defunct Little Moss High School in Droylsden, Greater Manchester, where he began dealing cannabis and reportedly developed a bad fetish for knives. He spent 18 months living with his sister in Tenerife. Upon his return, Cregan began collecting firearms until he possessed around 10 weapons, including machine guns. By the age of 22, Cregan had begun dealing cocaine, claiming £20,000 a week in profits, but always given his official job as a plasterer. Cregan is known as One Eye due to his missing left eye, which is believed to have been carved out with a knife under circumstances unknown. He has told friends it was a result of a brawl in Thailand. During his 17-week trial, Cregan had to put out his false eye as he left and returned from court to ensure officers could check he was not hiding anything in his empty socket. On the 25th of May 2012, Cregan had coolly walked into the Cotton Tree pub in Droylsden and shot dead amateur boxer and fellow criminal Mark Short. He was 23 at the time. Cregan had wanted to kill his great rival David Short, who was Mark's father, but his main target was in the toilet at the time. When David Short returned from the toilets, he sobbed as he cradled his dying son in his arms. He no doubt wanted revenge for what Cregan had done to his son. Cregan celebrated the assassination with friends by flying business class to Thailand for a holiday at a luxury resort. When he stepped off the return flight into Manchester, detectives were waiting and arrested him on suspicion of murder. Cregan said nothing in the interview and was released on police bail. Cregan lay low for a while and decided he had to murder his great rival David Short, the much feared and heavily convicted head of the Short family. It had been reported that David Short said he wanted revenge for his son's killing and he was going to get Cregan at any cost. Cregan made final preparations for the murder of David Short. On the morning of August the 10th, Cregan and his friend Anthony Wilkinson, who was said to have owed David Short a load of drugs money, gunned down David Short at his home in Folkestone Road East in Clayton. Cregan then threw a grenade onto David Short's body to make sure he was dead. Wilkinson and Cregan had staked out Droylsden Cemetery, where David Short would visit his son's graveside 3 times each day, but changed their plans when he didn't turn up. David Short was unloading furniture from the boot of his car when he was attacked outside his home. Cregan and Wilkinson chased him through the house, shooting at him. Desperately trying to get away, he collapsed behind a gate in an alleyway where more shots were fired down onto his victim. Short was unloading furniture from the boot of his car when he was attacked outside his house. Cregan and Wilkinson chased him through the house, shooting at him. David was desperately trying to get away and he collapsed behind a gate in an alleyway where more shots were fired at him. Cregan finished the job by throwing the grenade on top of David. Later that day, Cregan was named for the first time as wanted in connection with the murder of both Shorts, and his startling police mugshot was released to the media. The hunt was on for the one-eyed fugitive. A £50,000 reward was available for information leading to the capture of Cregan. Cregan was just going around in Tameside pubs, drinking heavily despite being the nation's most wanted man. So he hatched a plan to murder police officers before he was caught. So Cregan's plan was to phone the police and tell them that someone had chucked a brick through his window and that he needed assistance to draw the police into the ambush. This is the phone call that Dale Cregan made to the police.
Someone just threw a big concrete slab through my back window and ran off.
What's the address there, please?
30 Abbey Gardens, Mosham.
Did you see them?
Seen one, yeah.
Do you know them?
No, I don't know.
Okay. Do you know why they've done it?
I haven't got a clue.
Which way have they ran? What direction?
Ran there. There's a field at the back, and I've just seen them running over the field. I can point it out to the officer.
You didn't recognise him, no?
No.
And you have no idea why it might have happened?
Off the top of my head, no. I'm trying to rip my brains now, see if I pissed anyone off, but I don't think so, no.
Right, I'll get an officer up there, have a look round, see if they can see anybody similar, and then they'll come and see you. All right, Adam?
How long would it take? Do you know roughly? I know that it's not that serious. But...
Well, because it's just happened, it's gone in on the priority, so that's within the hour, certainly. But
okay.
They'll try and get up there as soon as, if there's a possibility he's still knocking about.
All right then, thanks very much.
Okay.
I'll wait. I'll be...
When the police arrived, Cregan burst through the door, shouted police and began firing shots at the two female police officers. As he opened the front door in Abbey Gardens in Longdale to confront the approaching officers, he blasted them both in the chest. The only reason they didn't die straight away was because they were wearing body armour. PC Bourne tried to dart off the side across the garden, while PC Hughes turned back up the path. They didn't get far. More shots were fired at them. A shot to PC Hughes' back severed her spinal cord and she collapsed paralysed onto the ground. She was shot 3 more times as she fell. Cregan then turned to PC Bourne, who he trapped in the front of the garden. He fired another 24 shots at her, but some of them missed. She managed to draw her taser gun, which was no match for Cregan's Glock. She suffered 8 gunshot wounds. Most of the bullets Cregan had fired at her were stopped by her body armour or hit the wall of the house, but one of those bullets penetrated a gap in the side of the body armour under her arm and caused fatal injuries to her heart. PC Bourne had defied every natural instinct to run away. Even though by now she had been blasted repeatedly in her body armour, she stayed and tried to help her fallen officer. The fatal injury to her side suggested she had adopted the classic side-on stance she had been taught in training, where the palm of one hand is raised and the target is ordered to stop. Detectives who investigated the murder would later marvel at the bravery shown by both officers, but particularly PC Bourne. Despite the fact both police officers were dying in front of him, Cregan's assault had not yet run its course. He turned again to PC Hughes, who was by now facing down motionless and bleeding heavily on the pavement. Cregan lowered the gun to the back of her head and fired 3 more shots. In total, she was shot 8 times. It still wasn't over. Just before he fled, Cregan threw a hand grenade and ran. It detonated in the garden where the officers lay dying. It landed closest to PC Hughes, further harming her already terribly bleeding body. Cregan dropped his Glock near the fallen officers, having emptied the magazine. He ran back into the house where he had spent the night throwing himself a mini party for what he knew would be his last taste of freedom. Cregan grabbed some car keys and fled in a BMW, speeding at 100 miles an hour along the M67 to Hyde police station 3 miles away, where he handed himself in. A 42-day manhunt was at an end, at a terrible cost. Cregan was arrested by police after walking into a police station in Hyde an hour after Hughes and Bourne were killed. Cregan was charged with the murder of both police officers and the Shorts, as well as 4 separate counts of attempted murder. On the 24th of September 2012, Cregan appeared before magistrates and was remanded in custody. He appeared at Manchester Crown Court via video link from Strangeways Prison in Manchester on the 24th of September, and he was further remanded. The case was adjourned until the 5th of November 2012, and on that date Cregan appeared via video link at Liverpool Crown Court for a plea and case management hearing. Cregan pleaded not guilty to the murders of Hughes and Bourne. The trial of Cregan began on the 4th of February 2013 at Preston Crown Court, where he stood with 9 co-accused charged with murder and attempted murder. Cregan had earlier pleaded not guilty to the murders of PC Nicola Hughes and PC Fiona Bourne and the murders of Mark Short and David Short, in appearance by video link at Liverpool Crown Court. Cregan changed his plea to guilty for the murders of the 2 police officers on the 12th of February 2013 and pleaded guilty on the 22nd of May 2013 to the murders of father and son David and Mark Short. The deaths of Fiona Bourne, Nicola Hughes and David Short were the first times that hand grenades had been used as a murder weapon in the UK. On the 13th of June 2013, Cregan was cleared of the attempted murder of Sharon Hawke. On the same day, he was sentenced to life imprisonment for the 4 murders with a whole life order. So Dale Cregan was sentenced to life without parole, meaning he will never be released again. Cregan was sent to HMP Full Sutton, where in August 2013 he was on hunger strike. He was then moved to Ashworth Hospital in Liverpool at a later date of September 2013. He was then transferred back to Manchester in March 2018 from Ashworth, where it was reported he had boasted about his workout regime and access to snooker and tennis. Ashworth Hospital obviously is a mental hospital for the mentally ill, and it's a lot more cushier than being in prison. Yeah, for now people, hopefully you're enjoying the content. Remember to like and comment. Goodbye.